All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to run through all the tax forms. Now, all the tax forms will be constantly included throughout the resources and whichever lessons you are going to need them for. This is going to be critically important, so follow through with me here. This is the face of the 1120S. Remember, when we say the face of the tax form, it's the first page. We're not going to be showing every page of the 1120S because it's not necessary. We're just going to be showing the pages that communicate with each other. It's a living being, these tax forms. It's almost as if, right? We are going to report the overall income and loss here. So let's deal with a real estate development company. Now, it's a small one because it's an S Corp. We're maybe a couple shareholders. It's a family-owned business. We've got gross receipts and sales. Maybe we flipped some houses, right? We rented some out. We're going to put that there. Returns and allowances. Just normal things you'd see in a corporate tax return. Cost of goods sold, gross profit, your net gain. Then you get your total income and loss. Then you take deductions, such as compensation of officers, salaries and wages. Again, this is quite similar to a normal corporation. You would just take all these items, boom, 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 taxes and licenses, advertising, other expenses, just full-on deductions, as we see here. Then that gets you your ordinary business income. This line is critically important because we will see it on the Schedule K and then the Schedule K1. So again, you don't need to memorize the tax forms, but the reason why I kind of almost want you to is a lot of SIMs are formatted just like the tax forms. And look at it. I mean, they almost look like they could be SIMs. You got to plug in the numbers from exhibits. It makes for quite a good SIM. Now, this S Corporation is going to allocate a portion of that income or loss to each shareholder on Schedule K1. But first, we're going to see the Schedule K. What happens here, this is page 3. Like I told you, we're not going to see every page. This is page 3 of the 1120S. Now we see Schedule B. Well, we're not focused on that. We're focused on Schedule K. That ordinary business income that we did that big calculation for, that goes here. So even though that was calculated on the front page of the 1120S, we are being taxed on it, or it's going to flow through to the K1, which is going to go to the individual taxpayer. So whereas for a normal corporation, a corporation would pay tax on that first page, and then it would flow through to the shareholders, and they would pay tax on it again. In this case, because it's an 1120S, we're only paying tax on it when it flows through to the shareholder. Now you may be saying, hey, Nick, why didn't you just include that whole item here? That's just the way the tax form's set up. Now, net rental, real estate income, other gross rental income, all these items, dividend, interest income, royalties, we're going to see these Section 179 deduction. These are our separately stated items, and the Schedule K is the total amount of separately stated items. This is going to flow through to the K1s. So the K1s, let's say you've got 4 shareholders that each own 25%. Their 25% amounts will add up to the total amount here. So the total amounts are all going to be here. Some of these separately stated items are more common than others, and those will be reflected in the questions that we ask you throughout the course. All right, you ready for it? I know you are. Then we get to our Schedule K1. So this is still a part of the 1120S, but this will come in the mail for you as a shareholder. I've gotten them before from random holdings. And this, again, it's part of the 1120S, but you're going to get this. So maybe you are a 25% partner. It's going to list out your number of shares. It's going to list out your ownership percentage, all that good stuff. So it's going to take the total amount of ordinary business income and loss, right? This lines up with the Schedule K. That was line 1. This is line 2 for net rental real estate income or loss. You're going to get all these items. And this is on your Schedule K. And this is 25% of the total amount. This you're going to then take and plug into TurboTax, which again, unfortunately, on this exam, you are TurboTax. You are the one reviewing, allocating, doing the work, all that good stuff. But you can do it. You are quite the expert at this. And all of these items will affect your tax return differently. Now, a lot of them won't really affect too differently. But for example, if you've got qualified dividends, those are taxed at a different rate than, for example, just ordinary business income. So all these have different impacts, as we remember, and harkening back again to everything you saw in the individual lessons. So all of these are going to be treated differently. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, now we're back on the 1040, throwback to our individual income tax. This is the Schedule E. And look at this. This is where you're going to report a lot of these items. Well, this is just page 1. I want to actually go to page 2. Just showing actually both pages of that, because why not? Now, page 2 here, you see, look at this. Are you reporting all this income here? Look at this, enter partnership and S Corp. Oh, you got it, you got it. So this is where you're reporting your total income and loss, passive, this is it, right? Estates and trusts, hey, throwing those in as well from the estates and trusts lessons. But this is going to be where you are reporting all of that S Corp activity. Then it's going to go to Schedule 1, which is then going to go to the face of the 1040. Important to remember. Now, like, how does this, it's really crazy. Is it above the line or below the line? Now, this would be a really crazy question in and of itself, but it's an important connection to make. A question could ask you, is the separately stated item of ordinary business income from an S Corp above or below the line. And you see the connection there. This should be a big light bulb moment for you. You see the connection is you have to think in your mind how this all flows through. So, okay, it starts off as being a line on the 1120S, then it flows through the Schedule K, then it goes to your K1, then it goes to the Schedule E, then it goes to the Schedule 1, then it goes to the 1040. And at this point, if you're saying, Nick, I'm quitting, I'm done with this exam, then just stand up, go for a walk, come back. But if you're having a light bulb moment and saying, oh my gosh, finally it's making sense, this is incredible, keep going, we will get you through it. Here's your Schedule 1, continuing the flow, the natural organic flow of how this all works. It's going to go on this line 5. Now, do you have to memorize the lines? No. I mean, is it going to naturally happen if you start to memorize the forms, though, and think of this as a big list of things you have to memorize? Yeah, obviously it'll help. But, are things such as the Alaska permanent fund dividends important? No, I wouldn't worry about memorizing that. Sorry to all you Alaskans. I'm sure you're great. Your state's beautiful, but that is a little bit more of a random item. Whereas kind of rental real estate income, right? That's S Corp income, partnership income. That's pretty important and relevant throughout the entire exam. All right, and look at that. Now we are seeing where it finally ends up on the face of the 1040. There are a multitude of ways to memorize this, to do this. You can download Excel versions of all the tax forms and how they connect to each other. Kind of how I do my taxes as well, just tax planning, just getting these massively linked Excel forms that all just flow into each other, and you just can watch where the items go to and drill down into them. It's something I'd probably love to build into a feature into the course eventually. Once, continuing with the flow of content, we got a lot of things going on, a lot of updates for you, continually keeping all of this fresh. So we're seeing this great process, how it all works. Again, critically important to understand. So if that didn't make sense, I would actually say go back and do all of these slides in the tax forms again, and then keep going along. This is super important. Also, because this is essentially how it works for partnerships, and there are going to be things throughout the S Corp lessons that I'm pointing out saying this is critically important for partnerships. Understand it now before you move on to partnerships. That's what I'll say. Overall, though, my mentality, is just, all right, go through everything once, try to understand it, and then come back and see it all again. But to this, I'd say, all right, stop here and take it in as you need. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.